Friends, how you doing? Happy Wednesday. Hey, in a few moments, I got some thoughts on stepping into the inheritance God has for you. How do we do that? And how do we grow up in Him in all things? Let me do a few quick updates first. Church, having a great Wednesday. I've had a really weird day. I've been here in Ireland for a week now with a team. Brought a team of 18 over, and we ended up being 22, 23, 25 people most of the time. So traveling, a lot of ministry. Got up at 3:30 a.m. today. Drove everybody down to Dublin Airport. Said goodbye to the team. Rented a car, drove back up. We actually had a window smashed in the van we rented, so I had to deal with that. And so I am back in Belfast for 3 days. With my daughter Noah. Rented an Airbnb here, really nice. Got some sleep this afternoon. And I'm now in Belfast in one of my favorite cafes in the world, Cafe Nero. Tried out, really good coffee. So, that's my week. Hey, I'm going to be in Downpatrick later this week, ministering there on Thursday evening. If any friends in Ireland are interested in coming to that, it'll be really great. But that's it. Hey, real quick, I've been doing a lot of thinking and teaching, trying to do some writing on this idea of growth and inheritance. And the idea is really this: God has this glorious inheritance for us, an inheritance that is a gift, an inheritance we get given in Jesus. And I think God wants us to be inheritance minded. You know, I've said this in a previous lesson, but rather than praying based upon our needs, which is not wrong, it's just baby level, I believe God wants us to be praying based on our inheritance. So rather than coming to God and saying, "Dear God, I've got a need, I've got a need, I've got a need," I think what we should be doing is coming to the Lord and say, "Dear God, I've got an inheritance. I've got an inheritance. I've got an inheritance." And if we look actually at not getting our needs met, but rather stepping into our inheritance, I believe it would be a powerful life transformative shift in our thinking. And what I've been sharing, what I'm going to be speaking on really all month long, is the idea that God's given us an inheritance, but we only possess it to the measure we grow up. Paul says in Galatians 4 that if we're born in the royal house, so to speak, we have an amazing inheritance, but we're still a child, we're experientially a slave. And I am not interested in having a theoretical inheritance. I want an inheritance I live and that I actually step into. So I just want to encourage you today and get you thinking about these. There's 3 areas in which we need to grow. And I believe these are actually the main areas in which we need to grow. Paul in 1 Corinthians 13 talks about that chapter on love, the love chapter. Love is patient, love is kind, you know, all these amazing things love is. And I was saying to my team actually yesterday, you should read that. Read it in the Amplified version. And if you ever want to hear an amazing message on that, listen to the very last message Kenneth E. Hagin ever preached. It's really incredible. The last message Kenneth Hagin ever preached, I think it would have been around about 2002. I was actually in Ireland when I heard he went to heaven. And last message he ever preached was on God's love. And it was on 1 Corinthians 13, really powerful message. But at the end of 1 Corinthians 13, Paul says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, I thought as a child, and I had the understanding of a child. But he says, now that I've grown, I've put away, far from me, I've divorced myself, is literally the term, put away childish things. And I believe if we're going to step into the inheritance God's got for us, there's just some work all of us have got to do, probably for the rest of our lives to some degree, but we are called to do some amazing, powerful, important work in those 3 areas, in our speaking, in our thinking, and our understanding. I mean, real quick, I think for years I'd look at that and go, well, what's the difference between thinking and understanding? I would look at it this way. I think understanding actually talks about it's like your operating system, the truth you've got in your heart. It would be like a ROM, you know, like the hard disk in a way of your computer, the knowledge base you have, the understanding you have of who God is, of how God is. God is who He is. Anything you say or think about God doesn't change who God is. But whatever you understand about God will determine what you receive from Him. How you understand God to be will determine actually the basis of your relationship with God. as a man thinks in his heart, so he is. As a man thinks in his heart, not his head. Proverbs 23:7 says, God says in Hosea 4 verse 6, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. So that understanding, that reasoning, that knowledge base we have really determines everything about our walk with God. Secondly, our thinking. Thinking is actually more it's the work the computer is doing on the screen, so to speak, the immediate actual thing like that, the RAM, if I can call it that way. It's the actual thoughts you have. So all of us, most of our understanding, 99.9% of it lives at that unconscious level. But then we need to grow up in the way we think, in the scripts that we have running, so to speak, in our computer, in the way in which we interact with the world around us, in the thoughts we allow to get into our mind. And lastly, we've got to grow up in our speaking as well. So many of us love God, but are speaking foolish things, speaking childish things, and not using our words in a grown-up, inheritance-minded way. So, real quick on this, I can go into this at length, but actually all of those three things have this reflexive relationship. Whatever is in your heart, you'll end up thinking about. Whatever's in your heart, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, Matthew 12:34, will end up coming out of your mouth. But also vice versa is true. Whatever you begin putting in your mouth, you'll end up thinking about. Whatever you put in your mouth will sink into your heart. Whatever you think about, you'll end up speaking about. Whatever you speak about will end up sinking into your heart as well. So with all of those things, the heart, the thinking, and the understanding, the mouth, the thinking and the understanding, imagine like a triangle, and they all mentor each other. And if we're going to grow and be the people God wants us to be, I believe God is challenging us to grow in all of those areas. And here's my thought to you today, and me. Don't ask God to give you more. Don't ask God, give me my inheritance. Grow. Change your thinking, change your speaking, change your knowledge base, change your understanding, and God will transform your life, and then He'll use you to transform others. Selah. Boom. Hope that's a help to you guys. Well, I'm going to do some more shopping here and enjoy my coffees. Have a great day wherever you're at. Welcome back to all of our team. They're flying over the pond right now. And again, if you're in Northern Ireland, Thursday I'll be in Downpatrick, where St. Patrick was buried. I'm going to be back in New England this weekend, speaking Sturbridge Worship Centre Saturday, and New England Sturbridge Worship Centre Sunday morning, 10 a.m. and New England Fellowship 4 p.m. Sunday afternoon. So hope to see you there. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here, and bye for now.